Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FFB from the 50, where we tackle every issue from both sides of the field, brought to you by JDP Media. I am your host, Dan Amsler, and week 7 is in the books, meaning we are halfway through our fantasy football season. So tonight we're going to change things up a little bit. No more 5 up and 5 down. By this point, we pretty much know what the rosters are looking like. We know who the backups are going to be. So instead, we're just going to focus on breakdown of different positions. So starting with quarterback news this week, it looks like Mac Jones is going to return and be the starter for the New England Patriots. Russell Wilson is hoping to still play Sunday morning. They've got the game over in England. Ryan Tannehill has been limited at practice, doing walkthroughs. Not sure that he's going to play this weekend, so keep an eye on the situation there for Tennessee. And in other news, Matty Ice has been benched by the Indianapolis Colts for the remainder of the season. So look for Sam Ellinger to start for the Indianapolis Colts. Moving on to running back news. Unfortunately, the running back news coming out of week 7 was the unfortunate season ending injury to Breece Hall. I was one of those folks that had Breece Hall in multiple leagues. I would say for this week, go ahead and fire up Michael Carter. We will discuss the trade that they made for James Robinson here in a second. But for this week, go ahead and fire up Michael Carter. I'm assuming that it's going to take James Robinson an extra week to get fully up to speed. We may see some usage the way that the San Francisco 49ers used Christian McCaffrey last week against the Chiefs, but don't expect it to be a full workload. So this week, go ahead and go with Michael Carter. Zeke Elliott is not practicing this week and looks doubtful for Sunday's game against the Chicago Bears. Now, we've seen this before where Zeke has not practiced and has been doubtful but still managed to play. I would not count on that this week. So if you're a Tony Pollard owner, go ahead and fire him up. But the Bears defense did look pretty good last week against the Patriots. Chuba Hubbard is not practicing. Deontay Foreman looks like he will be the go-to starter for the Panthers this week. I know Chuba Hubbard was picked up by a lot of teams last week after the Christian McCaffrey trade, but he is not practicing. So roll with Deontay Foreman. So let's go ahead and talk about the trade. So James Robinson was traded from the Jacksonville Jaguars to the New York Jets. Uh, Everybody knows that the Jets made that move due to the injury to Breece Hall. If you are a Travis Etienne owner, you had to have been doing backflips and somersaults, knowing that that main poacher is gone. And that's no offense to James Robinson. He's highly talented. But if you own shares of Travis Etienne, I'm sure you're absolutely thrilled about that development. There are a couple other running backs that are on the trade watch list with the trade deadline approaching. Both Kareem Hunt and Cam Akers have been rumored to be potentially on the move. If you are a Kareem Hunt or Cam Akers owner, I would go ahead and hold on to them for at least one more week to see how this shakes out. Moving on to wide receiver news, we got some really terrible news today if you're a Jamar Chase fan or a Cincinnati Bengals fan, especially if you are a Jamar Chase fantasy football owner. Looks like he may be out 4 to 6 weeks with a hip injury. If Tyler Boyd happens to be available, go out and grab him. Chances are he's not after the performance he put up last week. So they have another wide receiver named Michael Thomas that I'd be keeping an eye on. Alan Lazard looks highly doubtful for the Green Bay Packers this week. Reports said that he had his shoulder in a sling. Former Packer Devontae Adams is facing illness this week, but is expected to play. But make sure you keep an eye on the reports leading into the week. Supposedly he has a bad case of the flu. If you've ever faced a bad case of the flu, you know that you can get dehydrated real quick. You deal with muscle soreness and fatigue. So keep an eye on Devontae Adams. DK Metcalf looks like he is questionable, and I would say highly questionable for this week. Pete Carroll has come out on radio and said that he is optimistic that DK may be able to go, but I would not be holding my breath. Marquise Goodwin might be a good guy to pick up and hold on your roster. He performed really well, scored 2 touchdowns for him last week after DK went out. Mike Williams for the Chargers looks like he might miss multiple weeks with a high ankle sprain. Debu Samuel has not practiced this week. He is dealing with his own minor hamstring injury. He is considered day to day, so we'll see if he's able to suit up on Sunday. Make sure you have a backup plan. Soft tissue injuries for wide receivers can often be devastating and keep them out for longer than they would wish. Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry for the Saints both are not practicing. This looks like another Chris Olave game. If you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, I am optimistic that he should play this weekend. It turns out he did not suffer a concussion, but due to the new protocol, was held out of the game last week, went out in the first quarter. So if you started him last week, you had to have been disappointed. Now he is still in concussion protocol, but early reports state that he did not have a concussion, so it looks like he might be able to return. Kadarius Toney was actually traded today from the New York Giants over to the Kansas City Chiefs, and what is to me a bit of a head scratcher. I'm sure the Giants were happy to get rid of him. He's been nothing but a flop and a bust. For them, he has barely played, and when he has played, he's not been overly productive. He has 0 touchdowns in his NFL career, which is why I'm really curious as to why the Kansas City Chiefs went out and grabbed him and picked him up. Um, I don't understand that with the depth that they already have at wide receiver. Juju's been coming on strong. Michael Hardman had a really good game last week. Maybe they just needed extra depth. Not really sure, but Kadarius Toney is on the move. Tight end news this week: David Njoku looks like he is going to miss some time of his own with a high ankle sprain. So if you can, you might want to look elsewhere for backups at tight end. David Njoku is having a really good season, so it's hard to see that happen. I feel bad for him. If you could, folks, go down to the comment section. Let me know if there's any trades that you think are going to come up, any injuries that you feel like I should have talked about. Go down to the comment section, interact with us. This channel is for all of you fantasy football players. I call it the Jag and the Jaw channel. Just another guy, just another woman channel. This show is for you. If you want to come on here and be a part of this show, we do fantasy fireside chats. Go out and check out some of the past episodes. We have a great time. So if you want to be on this show, reach out to me and let me know. This show is for you. All right, folks, that's all I have for you this week. Like I said, let's pay attention to these injuries. Let's pay attention to the trade deadline. We may actually end up having to post another video prior to next week. If anything major happens, I'll come out here with breaking news and post a video on it. Being that we're over halfway through the season, I think we are going to change up the format. Instead of just doing one show that releases on Wednesday night, I think we're going to try to shoot for 2 videos per week. Like I said, we don't need to do stock up, stock down. We pretty much know how these rosters are shaking out. But I do want to talk on Monday or Tuesday about the injuries and then do an update on those injuries looking towards the week ahead on the Sunday slate. So, hey, folks, until next time, see ya.